It's a lot of work, but it's a lot of fun.
Every year, Buck Bottoms and his sons Jonathan and Hunter
It's hard to do, but it's really satisfying.
spend months decorating their front yard for Christmas.
How many lights do you have up?
We estimate, and that's all it is, somewhere between 170 and 180,000.
They've won awards, and visitors have come from all over the world to see this. But this season
This year is definitely different.
isn't the same.
It took a dramatic turn on Wednesday evening, the 20th.
That night, Jonathan, who goes by Jog, went for a ride on his motorcycle. His dad says something was on the road and the bike slid out from underneath the 24-year-old.
I got the call from Chippenham, and it's unlike anything I've ever had.
They just said critical condition, get here as soon as you can. And so I don't know what to think. I'm thinking, like, have I already had my last Christmas with my brother and stuff like that?
Jog's ribs and arm were broken, his right pelvic bone crushed, and his spleen and kidney lacerated. But he was alive.
God seen fit that didn't have a scratch on his helmet.
Suddenly, the decorations didn't seem so important, but Jog wanted them up. So Buck and Hunter went back to work.
You know, he's here because there's things that I know that he's concerned about here.
On Thanksgiving night, the Bottoms turned the lights on for the first time. Jog watched from his hospital bed.
We FaceTimed it to him live in the hospital, and he was giving thumbs up.
He was laying in the bed going, yeah, Dad.
Now the family can't wait for Jog to join thousands of others who admire the lights in person as he comes home just in time for Christmas.
It's a blessing to have him still here.
These are World Trade Center shots, 9/11 shots.
It's a room full of emotional memories for Clarence Singleton.
Every day is still a struggle, but I keep pushing.
And every picture tells a story, from his service in Vietnam to his rescuing of a pregnant woman from the World Trade Center bombing in 1993 to this. The largest terrorist attack in American history.
When I first got there, it was like a disaster area. It's nothing I've ever seen. And I'm a Marine from Vietnam.
Clarence was a New York City fire lieutenant. Even though he was off that day, he rushed to the towers and began to help, never expecting what would happen.
I could hear the towers in the back of me pancaking in one floor into the other. It stopped, and then the dust cloud consumed me, and I was like, oh no, now I'm gonna suffocate to death because I can't breathe.
Somehow, covered with debris, EMTs found him and rushed Clarence to safety. Eventually, he went home, but the pain wasn't over.
I couldn't get out of bed for several months. All I would do is lie in bed with the blinds drawn.
Clarence started seeing a counselor and began sharing his story. Now he's written this book, The Heart of a Hero, which he believes is an inspired way to comfort others.
I was sitting in church one Sunday morning, and the pastor's preaching, and it was like a light came on. It was like, hey, Clarence, you could write a book, put your experiences in the book, and you could help people who may be going through similar problems.
I welcome you to the site of the brand new Louisa County High School.
With those few words and the turn of golden shovels, work on the new Louisa County High School is now underway.
I think it's awesome.
Tonight, students, parents, teachers, and politicians celebrated.
We are Louisa, and great things are what we do.
And among the crowd, Eugenia Bumpus. You're 98.
The children say I'm 98 and a half.
She taught in the old high school the first year it opened and can't wait to see the new $56 million building.
I'm impatient. I want to get into it and see if it measures up to the old one.
For many people, one of the highlights of tonight's groundbreaking was taking home a brick. All of these right here are from the old high school. A lot of people taking them to their sons and daughters who have since graduated from Louisa but have gone on and want a piece of history.
My son went here, so he really wanted a brick.
Tonight's event was held in the shadows of the old school's foundation on the very spot where the auto shop stood. Now the countdown is on for the school to rise again. You're going to be around for the opening of the new one?
Absolutely. That's why I want them to hurry up.
It was a hot summer day, and police say the 3 8-year-old girls were playing with water balloons in their front yard. Suddenly, a man drove up in a truck, called the girls over to him and said, hey, let's play some ball. This is the petition floating around the city of Richmond. It calls for Chief Brian Norwood to remain here. A lot of people say crime's down, morale's already low in the police department. They haven't had a raise in 5 years. Is now really the time for a new chief?
We can't get enough of what he's done for us.
Rosetta Torrance is the woman behind the petition. She says over the past 4 years, Chief Brian Norwood has transformed her Jeff Davis neighborhood. This is a rough part of town. You guys
Very
have your
rough.
problems. He's helped you though.
Totally. Look at where you are. And he's helped us stupendously.
Norwood has done community walkthroughs, and Rosetta says officers are always minutes away.
You're welcome. Have a good night. It's the best police strategy that has ever been enacted in Richmond.
Norwood's time in Richmond could be coming to an end. He and Mayor Dwight Jones don't see eye to eye, and Chief Norwood is a finalist to be Raleigh's next top cop. How long do you plan to stay in Richmond?
You know, it really depends on the process here, and we'll see what happens here first, and then we'll make some decisions.
I think he's pretty decent. I hope he'll stay here with us.
Folks all over Richmond are signing Rosetta's petition. She says Norwood needs to stay for the safety of everyone. There's a lot of elderly in your neighborhood.
Absolutely.
They're concerned.
Totally concerned, because they were the ones who were being terrified.
In Richmond, Nate Eaton, 8 News. Police say this woman entered the dark theater and sat down next to a mother and her daughter who were watching the movie. She reached over and grabbed the woman's purse and reached inside for the wallet. That's when she removed credit cards, set the purse down, left the wallet behind, and left the theater. Here at City Hall, Mayor Dwight Jones is saying, well, not very much about the future of Chief Norwood. All he's told me is that there will be tweaks to his administration. What that means, your guess is as good as mine. Your thoughts about the chief not getting the Raleigh job?
I have no thoughts about it. I guess you'd have to ask him about that.
Even though Mayor Jones might not admit it, any truth to the rumor that tomorrow's his last day?
I have no knowledge of that.
Sources say Chief Brian Norwood's days are limited. You want to say anything about maybe a rift between the two of you?
What kind of rift?
A disagreement, you don't see eye to eye, you and Norwood?
Yeah, I get along with everybody.
Not so fast. Many say Jones and Norwood don't get along, and that's why the chief applied to be Raleigh's top cop. Today we learned he didn't get the job. Now his future and that of nearly 1,000 RPD employees is uncertain. What would you say to the officers that are kind of living in uncertainty right now?
They don't need to be in any uncertainty. The administration stands squarely behind all of the police officers.
Those officers aren't standing behind city leaders. They haven't had a raise in 5 years.
I know officers who have had cold winters because they could not afford oil in their homes.
And even though some elements of crime are down, morale is low.
We feel sort of neglected and forgotten about, to be quite honest.
These guys hope if Norwood does leave, Mayor Jones brings in the right person and that he does it quick.
We'll let you know when that happens.
In Richmond, Nate Eaton, 8 News.